Sermon 130 of Nahjul Balagah reminds us to show proof of the purity of monotheism, that Muhammad is a prophet, that Islam is the eternal religion, and there appears to have been some gap in remembering the sermon. And we are reminded that truth and falsehood is not the same thing as enjoyment. You know, because a lot of people now talk about their personal truth or some sort of psychopathic justification for something. We should have been taking lesson from those before us. The physical situation of the dead, which is what I mean when I say the energy, what's been carried on of their influence, which of course is what I mean by the legacy, and what is said about them, which is of course what I mean when I mention the memory in that respect. Even if their desires were fulfilled, what was the end of all that? What was the effect on themselves of just harboring those mere desires? And if they were not of those invoking ultimate divinity, what did that do to them? What's the case of the evil of their situation? The world is limited, but our actions can be expansive beyond this world. Saying 230 reminds us that Al-Quran 1690 is about fair distribution and favor. إِنَّ اللَّهَ يَأْمُرُ بِالْعَدْلِ وَالْإِحْسَانِ وَإِيتَاءِ ذِي الْقُرْبَى وَيَنْهَى عَنِ الْفَحْشَاءِ وَالْمُنكَرِ وَالْبَغْيِ يَعِظُكُمْ لَعَلَّكُمْ تَذَكَّرُونَ. We're reminded that God Himself is only commanding justice and being well to others, giving the rights to all, but primarily to the near relations. And the shameful and unjust and violations is what is discouraged. And all this is so that we can take a lesson. Saying 231 reminds us that our small giving is a great thing. And sometimes people don't have much, and they give, and it's more than as if they gave much. There's the Bible story about it, about the person who only gave a coin or two, And there's Grok stories about people who worked hard and gave all they had. There's not Grok stories, I don't think, but, what the prophet did. Now, actually, there is, in a way, because there's that story of people who faked like they were eating, and, so their guests wouldn't feel like they were, like this situation was what it was, and they were giving all they had. Saying 232 reminds us that we shouldn't be warmongers. We shouldn't encourage various fights among the people. But if we're called towards a just war, then we respond like it's a just war. If we're called to a war, we definitely should consider things. Like these people who talk about, it's no one's insane because they've been prompted, and they know they've been prompted by something that's not human. The shayateen min al jinn have directed towards something, but we have a choice. If a human tells us something, we definitely respond towards it and consider it, or at least we should be. So if Richard Ramirez encountered this big hairy jinn creature and it told him to do what it told him to do, as the story goes, well, it's still his judgment too. It's not like, so any source of direction you should definitely consider, especially when it's something severe like that.